After 5 points dropped in their last 2 games, Arsenal now face their toughest challenge yet, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. But Arsenal can beat Man City on Wednesday night. Here's how. Before I get to that, I just need 30 seconds of your time to talk to you about something. I'm recommending the app OneFootball. OneFootball is an app that covers hundreds of football leagues domestically and internationally in incomparable detail. For live scores, stats, news, updates and more, OneFootball is the only app you need to follow football around the world, and you can even stream certain games and leagues on the app totally for free. My favourite feature is the aggregator of news about your club, so instead of having to trawl the internet or looking on YouTube or Reddit or Twitter or whatever it is, you can go right here and it's all there for you in one feed. When we spank them 5-0 on Wednesday, watch Pep Guardiola melt down live on the OneFootball app. Download the OneFootball app for free from the link in the description. OneFootball, no one gets you closer. The underlying data paints a picture of two sides who do a lot of things very similarly, as you'd expect. Arsenal and Man City interchange between first and second best in the league for shots on target against, goals per shot on target, non-penalty expected goals, short and medium pass completion, tackles and interceptions, final third touches, and so much more. Both teams want to keep the ball, both teams are extraordinarily well coached in all phases, and both place a big emphasis on pattern and positional play, which you can find out more about in this video, link is in the description. In terms of their overall philosophies, though there are key differences, there's a lot of overlap between the two managers. But there are always opportunities for competitive advantages. I have 5 things I think Arteta should pay attention to get a result in the game, and I'll share 4 here. If you want to hear my final key point of attention, as well as getting loads of other benefits, you can sign up to our Patreon from the link in the description. Arsenal's left-hand side dynamic. Arsenal missed Gabriel Jesus for a number of reasons, and could have done with some of his chaos and energy against Brentford's low block on Saturday. But Jesus has a more subtle impact on Arsenal's left-hand side that needs to be addressed. Have a look at these average position maps. They show Eddie Nketiah's last 4 starts for Arsenal, and you'll see that in general, though not always, Nketiah tends to stay fairly central. Gabriel Jesus, on the other hand, has a slightly left-sided bias when he's deployed at centre forward. This may seem a small difference, but it has a huge knock-on effect. Since Jesus' departure from the team, in 7 games, Gabriel Martinelli has registered 2 goals and no assists. Before that, with Jesus in the team, he was averaging a goal or an assist every game. Similarly, Xhaka was offering almost a goal or an assist every other game with Jesus in the team. Both have gone from around a goal or an assist a game to less than 1 in 3. Jesus offers triangular combinations and positional rotation on our left-hand side with more frequency than Nketiah. That means that Martinelli can come more central at times, increasing his output. He actually started to do this against Brentford, but as the game went on, Nketiah reverted to type. Nketiah's centrality means he's often occupying the spaces Martinelli would like to rotate into, so Martinelli can become isolated somewhat on that far-hand side. As Thomas Frank outlined in his press conference, there's nowhere to go, and you go a long way to stopping Arsenal. Similarly for Xhaka, without Jesus vacating the space, there's less room to make those now almost trademark runs between the full-back and the centre-back. We're creating less chaos and asking less questions of opposition defenders with more rigid, static play on our left-hand side. I also think it affects Zinchenko. To get that left-hand side going without Jesus, I think Zinchenko can become a little overzealous, dropping too deep to receive the ball, as he is here when he should be between the lines and allowing Gabriel to play out, or sitting too high and not being able to progress the play and act as the outball, with his back to goal. This sometimes means we get caught out on our left, but it's more that Zinchenko tries to shoot far too often, arrives too early in certain actions, or doesn't provide the width we need as he's trying to affect the game. How exactly Arteta addresses that will be very interesting to see. Lots of people have been calling for Tierney or Trossard, but regardless, it's just something Arteta needs to have a look at. Countering City's setup and build-up. When appropriate, I'd like to see Arsenal try a man-for-man press, which they did against City in the Cup. Photo here from James AFTV on Twitter. This is because a lot of the goals City have conceded this season have come where they've made a mistake playing out from the back, having been matched up number-wise in their first phase. You can see this on Kane's goal recently against them, Kulusevski's goal in the match at the Etihad, Demarai Gray's goal, Trossard's goal, and more. It's difficult to tell what Pep will do on Wednesday. He'll overthink. Against Aston Villa, as Premier League panel pointed out, he played 3-2-2-3 in their build-up, overloading the left and making the switch to De Bruyne. This season he's played 2-3-5, 3-1-4-2, 3-2-5 and more. Preparing for that specifically probably isn't worth it, so it's best just to focus on what we do well. What we can say is there has been a lot of change, both personnel and system-wise for City, and that we can take advantage of. I think we'll probably see the 11 that took on Villa with Ake and at left back, who did very well against Saka in the FA Cup. If we do see that, a man-for-man press that looks a little like this, for example, with the ball on their right-hand side, could do very well to force errors. We're also going to be playing a very different type of game from the Everton and Brentford games, just in terms of the area of the pitch we'll be playing in. Field tilt, if you're unfamiliar, just measures the share of possession a team has in a game, but only considers touches or passes in the attacking third. City had 71.8% field tilt against Villa, and Arsenal had 77.7% against Brentford. Both teams will be going for it and attempting to squeeze the other rather than just sitting in a deep block all game. This means that we have to be very alert to the counter press and win our second balls and duels. It's always important, but when a team are higher up the pitch, if they're winning the second balls and the duels, they can hurt you more often and quicker. It also means there might be more space in behind, so balls over the top from the back five may be key. I do not buy the fact that Haaland might be injured, by the way. Prepare for him, and if they don't play him, no problem. Psychology. On the 20th of January, after a 4-2 comeback win against Tottenham, Pep accused his team of losing their fire and becoming a happy flowers team. In a brilliant post-match interview, he questioned their competitiveness, saying they have nothing in the stomach, no fire in the belly. He said it is definite that the team has lost an edge, having won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles. He even called out the fans. We have to take advantage of this on the psychological side of things. Against both Everton and Brentford, I felt an energy in the team that I don't like. Too casual in the final third, too slow in our actions, too happy to be beaten in the duels. We arguably lose 5 duels in a row before Tony's goal on Saturday. That simply can't happen. If Arteta can't get his team up from minute 1, fast out of the blocks, aggressive in the duels and running hard, I really worry about this team's mentality. Application doesn't require talent, and when you're chasing your first Premier League in 20 years, it shouldn't require much to get you to do that. The influence of the Emirates crowd cannot be understated, and I implore anyone watching this, if they're watching on Wednesday at the ground, please support as loudly as you can. For the first time this season, when we conceded against Brentford, I felt like the crowd didn't quite lift the team. I, for one, will be screaming like a little girl. However, the recent allegations from the Premier League may be at play and may offer them a new edge. It gives the City players and fans something to react to, an us versus the world narrative. Indeed, the Premier League anthem was booed against Aston Villa. It's up to the leaders in this team, Arteta, Xhaka, Zinchenko and more, to keep their heads and ensure everyone is at the level. Individual battles. Finally, Arteta needs to focus on some key individual battles. There's the obvious ones, Haaland against Saliba, Saka against Ake, but the one I want to focus on is De Bruyne in our half space, which involves 2 players. Zinchenko and Gabriel are going to be key to this, and it's about stopping Kevin De Bruyne picking up the ball in this area of the pitch, the right half space. When De Bruyne is allowed time and space here, he is absolutely lethal. He is top in terms of assists per 90, expected assists, through balls and shot creating actions in the entire league. We need Gabriel to be on his toes, stepping out to engage De Bruyne early in that space, and we need Zinchenko to calm down, not try and be Superman, and just stop De Bruyne playing in the zones that he should be dominating. Another key individual battle would be Ødegaard and Xhaka on Rodri. Rodri is top in terms of passes into the final third in the entire league, and we need both Ødegaard and Xhaka to be scanning constantly, ensuring that the passing lanes into De Bruyne or whoever is ahead of the ball are shut off. Our shape off the ball is generally well structured, but it requires concentration across the 90 minutes to maintain, as obvious as it sounds. The Rodri to De Bruyne dynamic is one of the beating hearts of City. Cut it off, and we stand a very good chance. So there you go. I hope Arteta sees this and appoints me as his assistant before Wednesday, but just in case, I'll take all 3 points. I will be there. I will be there. We will be there. In the North Bank, cheering the boys on. Come on, you Gunners! Thank you so much for watching The Different Knock. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please consider supporting us on Patreon monthly or head to buymeacoffee.com for one-time support. You can find me at AMOnFootball on Twitter and we're at DiffKnock on all social media. Also, check out our podcast. All the links are in the video description. Thanks!